modify, change, suspend, or annul them for any such purpose as he is authorized to issue orders directly or through such person or persons as he designates for the purpose through the mission. So I don't know. This I'll put it in the chat, but this is I'm looking at Cornell Law School. The question I asked was, when can a president cancel elections?
Well, then, I stand corrected.
Predictable programming.
Yeah, but they can't do it unilaterally. So Congress would have to be involved. So the problem with this statement is Congress sets the date, right? There's certain constitutional provisions that's not going to allow him just to do it.
Oh, so Patty, what you're saying is he couldn't do it. Congress would have to agree that it's the best thing for the country. He could propose it, but Congress would have to approve it, is what you're saying, Patty.
Right.
Just like Congress.
I mean, they voted during the Civil War. We voted through warlords. And then if you look at the 20th Amendment, it actually says, like, when it starts and what time, right, the day it starts and what time it ends, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably need a constitutional amendment to
Cancel election.
You're right, Patty, we did vote through the freaking Civil War and through World Wars. Yeah, they can't talk today.
It's because it's hard to compare this administration to any administration. We're watching them do unprecedented things against the Constitution, against our national civil liberties and rights as citizens and veterans. So if he's willing to step on all of our rights and repeal rights, if you give him an inch, he's definitely going to take a yard for 3 years. We don't have time to guess, is what I'm saying. So I agree with Elle. We need to move accordingly, like worst case scenario, not best case scenario, because he has never been honest.
Well, let me ask you a question. He seems to think he can issue an executive order to do anything he wants. So, for example, when he bombed Iran, that wasn't approved by Congress. He just did it. Had that initiated a war, then Congress wouldn't have approved that war. It would already have happened.
I see that fallout, L. You saying that he issued an order to bomb Iran, which caused a war.
Yeah. There you go. That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. So you're saying he could do that again? He could issue an order to bomb somebody, which would cause a war, which Congress, they could retaliate. Then Congress would have to approve for the United States to declare war on the country that retaliated. That's what you're.
That is what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is by that time we're in the war, at which point the question of elections comes up. I mean, obviously Congress is supposed to approve all of this, but he seems to be operating by executive order from minute one of this administration. So I'm just saying the action to bomb Iran that we just saw him do was not approved by Congress.
And he's getting away with it. He's doing it so fast, so frequent, just like Netanyahu, that they can't even hold him accountable. The court system can't keep up with his law breaking.
And how is this a stretch? We're just talking about what he just did. I don't know how that's a stretch. He literally just bombed Iran without Congress admission, without their permission. He didn't go to Congress and say, hey, I think we should do this. How is that a stretch? That's a matter of fact.
But that wasn't war, that was military action.
Yeah, you're right, Patty. You're right. That was military action. But Elle's point is he could take a military action that could cause that. I don't know why there's such a stretch.
He could have easily initiated war, though, regardless if it was just a military action.
And there is nobody to stop him from taking ridiculous military action, like nonsensical military action. At least in the first administration, there were some generals that have been there a while that say, hey, bro, no, this is stupid. We're not doing this. There's nobody to stand in his way now. He's only surrounded by sycophants at this.
Yes, and SCOTUS is not going to do a thing because they've given him impunity. It's like checkmate.
I mean, the only thing that needs to be done is a 9/11 type attack where somebody from some organization from a different country to do an attack that causes property and civilian lives, and we will retaliate. If it's big enough, if it's important enough, Donald Trump will say we're at war. Come on, Republicans, whip this into reality, and then all of a sudden it just keeps going on. And Israel or Bibi is the biggest liability of it all.
Oh, absolutely.
I just keep going back to the fact that, since 2016, all we've been hearing, he's not going to do that, then he doesn't. He's not going to do that, then he doesn't. He's not going to win, then he wins. He's not going to do this. He's going to release his taxes, then he doesn't. I mean, literally, we have all these years of all of these things that you guys are fear-mongering. He's not going to do that, and then he does it. We have 8 years of that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's unconstitutional. He's not going to break the law, and then he does it. I mean, how many times are we going to get slapped in the face? And I just don't.
Well, and
it is endless. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that to me, when I look back at 9/11, one of the lessons of 9/11 was that who would have thought, like, we sat there, we stared at this, and it had never entered our mind. I mean, certainly never entered my mind, this image of airplanes flying into the Twin Towers. So if you haven't imagined it, you can't even, it's like outside the realm of what you think is possible, which is why I think, you can call it fear-mongering. I don't think it's fear-mongering at all to actually envision all of the worst-case scenarios. And in a sense, the more bizarre they are, the more likely they are to happen because we don't see it coming, and then we don't prevent it.
Exactly. And to that point, Liberal, I do want all of the Democrats, all of the Republicans, all of the people in power, all of them exposed. Every last one of them. Democrat, don't matter what party they're in, I want everybody exposed. And I believe most people that are independents and Democrats want the same thing.
The scary thing is we cannot clean house on the Republicans and the Democrats without cleaning Trump out first. If you do it the other way around, all power will go to Trump. You need to do him first, and then you can clean house, and then you can replace it. Because that vacuum, if you clear out everybody else first, then it's a fucktard sandwich. I don't know if I can say that, but seriously, it's a power vacuum, and he's trying to absorb as much power as he can right now. So, just telling you, there's a sequence of the way that we got to do this that will, have him concede his power and reduce his power. If not, he will only get stronger.
I agree with Dr. Dan, and a fucktard sandwich is the correct medical terminology in this case. Seriously speaking, though, you have to take off the head of the snake. You have to fight the bully. It is on face value, Trump. I would go one step further, and just to be sure, just to be thorough, must be extracted as well. I don't give a fuck how many black eyes they gave him. I want him out. He never should have fought this election. and it's a huge mark on our democracy in our history.
You know what? To that point, it's one of the reasons why I miss John McCain so terribly. I miss him so terribly because I think he got the closest of all politicians that I know of trying to get dark money out of politics. I really think he got the closest to getting it done. And that's why I want everybody exposed, because buying elections and the dark money that's involved is on both sides. And we need to strip that clean. There needs to be limitations on contributions. The loopholes need to be closed. These PACs need to be regulated and oversight. I mean, they need to be. My industry is more regulated than PACs are. It's crazy to me. All of that needs to be done. And I want everybody that is suspect, they need to be outside with no drawers on, with the booty cheeks flapping in the wind. Everybody, I don't care what party they're in, everybody needs to be exposed.
Amen.
Booty cheeks in the wind, that's a bit far. It's a bit far. But I understand your sentiment, for sure.
It's fourth quarter, you know. It's fair game now. Speak from the heart, speak from the gut, because we need to reach this next generation and let them know what time it is. So, and that is what they understand. We just listen to the presidents; they grab them by the, you know what? They're a bunch of rapists, you know, referring to while he's recruiting and selling, basically. Normalcy of this behavior is unacceptable. Period.
I still think we're headed towards war. It's going to happen. And he's going to be our wartime president. Unless we can kind of shake something, he's going to be our wartime president.
He's trying. You're right. That assassination attempt was the biggest rally for him to be the wartime president. And I put a link in the chat. I'll put it back in the chat. But y'all, when you see this link about this different angle, his team, after he got shot, runs right in front of the line of fire, casually, just like it's a WWE event, or, you know, basically it looks like a concert. And you know, when they grab the photographers, they're like, okay, come over here now. And they position the photographers. That's what Trump's, I don't know if it was a production assistant, it was someone from his administration, in the very low, and they have this angle, and they lower the flag too for that position when he raises his. It was insane. And I've worked on Hollywood sets. It is definitely a rally to make him, as Dan described, a war president.
I just see how he's my large indicator. Like I hear what you're saying, and I think that's definitely involved. But my push button was when I'm starting to look at how he's shaping the economy, how he's shaping the education system and the economy at the same time, and the way it's looking under the guise of culture wars and the exclusion and deportation of people. This is eerily similar to what World War II was like. You know what I'm saying? They did this for the Japanese internment camps. They pushed people out. They had to have all the men fly out to fight wars, and the women, they were the women and minorities and children. They filled the industrial plants. The thing that's missing now is we just need to reindustrialize, and that's what we're claiming that we're trying to do with automation. But it's just this is War 3.0. We're building up to it, and the fascism that comes in play. It's hard for me to not see a fascist country that hasn't created war. In fact, it seems like the countries that were down, were depressed for whatever reason, they rose out of that through fascism and a fascist war. And there's too many things that are lining up based on historical context. I'm just saying, on a macro level, that's what I'm saying. So it seems like we're going right there, and all we needed was that psychopath, megalomaniac type person to sit on the throne of that country's version of fascism. And we're here now, and we have our person who he looks like he's sitting on the throne of fascism. So on American fascism. So I don't know. I do think it will run its course. I do think that we will make it through. I just don't know what America is going to be once we've run through this course. And as we're going through it, it is hurting like a motherfucker right now. And there's a lot of blood already as far as I'm concerned. So.
Now you understand the campaign for Make America Great Again. By the time this fucker's done with it, we are going to have to make America great again. We're going to have to do a lot to move the needle right back to zero. But thank God for automation and everything else, because we will be. ChatGPT has given me enough hope with 5 of the bright minds of this country, of the next generation. It's like we have nothing but solutions, and it is that much more insulting when some pedophile comes and tries to label us as a problem.
I'm with you. I don't think that's going to stop him. No, I mean, we can talk all day on this pedophiles. That's not going to stop him.
It's going to unify. It's going to unite this country like you've never seen. You think Me Too movement was a fucking movement? Watch what happens when everybody sees what it is.
Okay, until somebody sets off a bomb in the middle of Times Square. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like there's so many different things that are so hotbed right now, where if anything goes off, it'll negate this pedophile shit in a heartbeat.
Hold on, Dan. Well, let's run it back. 9/11, right? Was Bush ever accused of fuck shit with kids? Hell no. That's the whole reason why we went to war. Let's be fucking real. If he was really wrapped up in that shit, he was just a dude. He was related to Will Ferrell. He was the president you wanted to have a beer with, right? They literally, when the planes hit, right, and where was he? In a kid's classroom, right? Let me just walk through it. All the way. I'm almost done. I'm gonna land right here. They had they were hiding behind a sister who was a teacher, reading to children like 9/11 was a lullaby, right? Just like Elle said earlier, I couldn't even fathom that or wrap my head around that, like a demolition, whatever, whether you believe it's set up or not. I just can't even fathom. 2 747s going into the Twin Towers. Neither can kids. So they started before the planes even hit. All right, kids, we're going to read this story right now. What does this word say? Plane. What does this word say? Steal. Okay, faster. Must. Hit. I'm not making this up, but hindsight is 20/20. And if we're not going to be, genuine, if we're not going to be transparent here, you're right. We are headed towards repeating insanity. But it's not, you know what I'm saying? That's all I got to say.
Okay, so let me add one thing just for, to add into the calculus of our understanding of society and how it operates, okay? I've seen and heard there's been, if Trump decides to have a come to Jesus moment, he will be forgiven. All sins will be forgiven. And let me tell you why. There's been plenty of churches where the head of their church has been caught doing some foul shit, even pedophilia, right? But they come clean, they take it back to Christ, and then they ask for the congregation to forgive them. And more times than not, they fucking forgive him, and he's back in the role of power. That is the fucking America that we live in, and that's what I'm afraid that we are capable of doing, of forgiving this motherfucker if he has a come to Jesus moment, and the evangelical has has already built it into their understanding that he is the sinner that is going to save. It's built in to our understanding. That's where we're fucking headed. Not rest.
I agree with you there. If he was intelligent like a pastor, or you don't want to say intelligent like a pastor, but if he was intelligent, you're right. That would be his defense. That would be the smart thing to do. But damn, just like you say, that no weapon shall.
Essentially, and that's what's really scary is that at least they felt that they had to closet their
Before.
yes, and now they're just completely open and just it's so crude.
Yeah.
We have an Anon in the room, and I'm pretty sure it's one of those people that records.
That you don't want here. Can you throw them out? There's not a way to do it. No. Oh, well, all right. Victoria and Andrew and David, it's been great to see you. We will just teach this person to go fuck themselves. Excuse my French.
If that's indeed what they are doing, yes.
Well, but you know what? I mean, I don't.
The feature, there's no other feature to it.
Psychopaths aren't necessarily. Yeah, there is no guardrails against these psychos.
Well, you know, I think it's unfortunate that when we have all these discussions about it, and I'm not really afraid of it, but I am sensitive to the people who don't want a room recorded. I want to be sensitive to it, and yet what's so sad about it is we lose a lot of great content. And I think that's the most unfortunate thing. Like, I didn't record that room yesterday, and in one sense, I can see where if you were on one side of the issue, you might not want it recorded. But on the other sense, here was a person, and I won't even say since we have this Anon in the room, but Victoria, you can probably guess who it was, who never steps out, and she stepped out, and I was so goddamn proud of her. And I just wish we could celebrate it, you know. So there's two sides to the same coin, I guess. Yeah. And Margarita, we do see you. Unfortunately, there is an Anon in the room who we cannot eliminate. It's unbelievable to me. Yeah, let me just take a look.
Do they
I
have?
wish these anuses would just disappear. I don't understand why Clubhouse has created this shitty feature which just allows people to basically stop their behavior.
Hilarious. I mean, I know why they did it. They did it.
I would have paid a subscription.
Right, to not have them. Well,
yeah.
Too late. They've already made a decision. So, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It shows me that they had a covert strategy all along to spy on people, and it was the easiest thing that was already laying around in code that they could monetize. This shows me how lazy they are, and how not just deaf, but immune to feedback.
I think this is the problem with not having a diverse workforce is that you end up with these dumbass ideas making it to production.
Yeah, and you didn't respond to me, Victoria, when I talked about the feminization, and I'm not trying to be offensive.
I didn't even know what you meant by that. What is feminization?
What I mean by that is we are too there are things that are bad, and then there are things that should be intolerable. And I think that when people are doing things that are super destructive, I'm glad you asked that, David, because I didn't articulate what I meant. We're afraid to say this is bad. It's like if you look at classrooms today, my wife makes the comment, she was a school teacher, and I think she's absolutely right, that kids don't want to see another kid get in trouble. Well, that's a problem, because you need to lay down some standards
that say these things are not a matter of opinion. We have, yes, we have freedom of speech, but freedom of speech doesn't mean that you can walk around yelling fire in a crowded theater.
What did you mean? You said something about the desire space that we should just halt right there. Kids don't want to X. And X was see other kids get in trouble.
Yes.
Let's just sit with the thing you don't. It's distasteful. What is it that's distasteful? The kid being what you in the other room sound like you wanted accountability in the adult world. And what sounds like what might be getting imposed upon adults from the desire space of kids is that they don't want to see someone getting punished. I agree. I don't either. I don't like to watch the America's Funniest videos when people get kicked in the nuts. But some people like that shit. Just like this Anon person's here for whatever their own self-entertainment is. You can't choose the pleasure or displeasure of others. You can only choose your reaction to it. So sit with, what is it that the kid's getting in trouble for? And do you want to grant that the kid shouldn't be in trouble for anything? Or that the punishments might be too severe? Or the way that it was handled? But I think granting the premise is where you feminized what just happened. And I'm just joking about feminization. Because I think that that's a derogatory, that why are you associating gender to anything? What does feminization mean?
I think
you're just using it as a derogatory.
Yeah, I think you're really referring to being like more submissive.
Yeah, and so it's just like can we just find a different label that's just
okay? That's fine.
I actually don't think that I'm not offended by the use of the term. I think it's absolutely fine because even if you like read the Tao Te Ching, there's the masculine and then there's the feminine, the yin and the yang, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that like use of the term. I think Alan was using it correctly.
Okay,
I was trying to push back on the toxic masculinity. I that's all I meant is a counter to toxic masculinity. I think there is such a thing as too much passivity on the part of people who may have too much condemnation from the mother in their life, or we don't want to upset grandpa, we don't want to upset uncle so-and-so, so we let him go on all his obnoxious views.
Well, what we know about sociology is that there is a bystander effect, and a lot of people might be bystanders, but to think that their parental relationship is the cause of it is jumping the gun.
Okay, David, that's fair. And I'm glad, Victoria, that you weren't offended. I just meant it as a counter. Victoria had been talking about toxic masculinity, and I agree with her. I'm absolutely in agreement that toxic masculinity is a problem, and that my masculinity shouldn't be determined by whether I own a gun or not.
Yeah, but I was referring to the how that term masculine has been butchered by the toxic individuals that think of like the reason it's even called toxic masculinity, it should just be called toxic dumb fucks. Sorry.
Okay.
Excuse me.
No, that's fine. Okay, then that's fine.
I don't think it's very masculine. Right? I think these are people that I don't think have authority in their own lives.
Yes.
That end up basically, or they feel like maybe they suffered weird childhoods where their fathers didn't love them or something. I just don't think that these are I think masculinity appears far different. It's more capable. It's somebody that is able to wield influence, not through, the sword, but be able to encourage people to follow them. Like, that's not what we're seeing in these, the entities and others of the world.
And I guess what I was referring to is people who I know, women who I know in my life, who dumb themselves down because they're smarter than their husbands, and I find that to be really obnoxious. Like, I like intelligent women, and I don't think femininity and intellect have anything to do with each other. In other words, you don't dumb yourself down because
feminine leaders. I don't think that femininity or masculinity have anything to do with being, intellectually apt or a leader.
So we're on the same page. And David, thank you for pushing that. See, now Dr. James made me nervous, because what I really meant to say in that room is, I didn't mean to say I was trying to disagree with Victoria or with Rachel. What I was trying to say was, there's another side.
Can we explore this topic further?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I meant. And the language, it's like, now I've got a thing, I never want to talk about penetrating a market, because I used to work with a woman who got upset when that was used, because she thought that was a sexist way of approaching it. Like, okay.
I don't like policing language, because I think having learned different languages and taught, like teaching English as a second language, people have different ways of referring to things, depending on the culture, depending on how they learned the language, and they're, colloquial terms that shouldn't spark ire.
Alan, you're free to penetrate anytime you want.
Thank you. And I really like the discussion. I will add that I cannot work with O&M people. That's people who teach travel skills, who are too cautious. I just can't do it. They if they have too many don'ts and avoid this and avoid that, I can't work with them. In chemistry, it just won't work. So I appreciate you not being a language police, Victoria. I appreciate you understanding what I mean. I'm not. Anyhow, we're done. I'm done on that topic at least. Is our non-friend still here?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, full lubed up, probably mid-stroke.
Oh, jeez.
Is that a penetrating illusion?
That was a penetrating illusion. I love that. That was really something. Wow. Wow. Okay. Now. God, that's too good. Oh, man.
I missed my calling, I guess. Damn engineering school.
Yeah, comedian,
It's all about entropy and enthalpy and efficiency.
Yeah, but I like synergy more than entropy.
No, I was talking about mechanical engineering, both quantities are esoteric for most discussions.
By the way, before we go, I've got to bring Brian up for a reason.
I actually have to run, but it was
a
nice conversation prior to this person coming in.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria. We hope to see you around.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, Victoria.
Andrew, I'm sorry, not Andrew. Brian, did you hear about yesterday's little incident? And we will not mention the person who is involved because there isn't a non here.
Yeah, just say the capsizing.
Just
say the capsizing. Use colorful poetic.
A person we both know. Have you heard about this little dust up?
No.
Okay. Well, sometime unfortunately,
somebody under the water raised a flag and it lost its water tightness and had to be scuttled.
Yeah.
Every week.
Well, Brian, I'm going to look for you at some point when I think it's a little more confidential and tell you about it. But a certain individual that we both know, it deserves many kudos for standing up for themselves. And if that's not big enough, I don't know what is.
That's plenty big. You're right. You guys can take it up.
What were they arguing about?
It was a moment to stand up for oneself, and the person didn't take the feedback very well, gracefully, even though he's more than competent to stand for scrutiny. Let's put it that way.
Die.
No, anyway, he didn't. He dove before battening down the hatches.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, Andrew, send me the person's name so I can knock them off my list.
Oh, it's not, I don't know if he's even on your list.
I'm gonna close the room, you guys, because of this non-character. But thank you, it's been a good chat.
May they not be penetrating anymore. Later.
Later.
Au revoir.
Okay, so I actually may have a couple of bras that you can have. Because they cost way too fucking much to just be like, oh no, what am I gonna do with this? And then be looking stupid. Because my cup size has not gone down by any stretch of the imagination, but my band size has. So the other day I had a bra on and I had to like take the straps and crisscross them to get more tension. Yes.
Do that in a good minute.
When I tell you, I was like, this bra costs too much.
Yeah, when I started developing and not stopping, I used to have to get like bra sizes just so like
miss anything here. So he's using it a little bit as an assistant, but never to write the original work. This part we do work with screenwriters, if that's what you're asking about a treatment. That is, we've had people do the workshop. I mean, I've been doing workshops in real life for, a long time. This just happened to have developed organically on Clubhouse because people had projects and they knew my background, so they were coming to me, and I can work with individuals on books. And I ended up being asked if I would do the workshops, and that's how it developed. But originally it was just books, but we've had people who have screenplays, if that's what you mean by treatments.
No, yeah, that's exactly what I meant. So, perfect. Well, best of luck, and maybe one day I may be visiting you. I'm working on this concept where this one Puerto Rican and Dominican woman from New York goes to live to Texas, and then she slowly transforms from liberal to a MAGA Republican, and she ends up terrorizing online platforms. I think I want to name this person Melody as a title, because that's just what jumps out at me.
Yeah.
What do you think of that premise?
I love it.
You go ahead and talk about you. What's in the language? Talk about that. He's talking to me. He was talking about you.
Wait, what makes you think I'm talking about Mel? I said Melody.
Nigga, you are so annoying. I guess you. What he said? I'm not even listening because I'm walking to the pool, so I didn't hear what he was saying. I was lightweight listening because I was making my lunch. Yeah. And I hear him describing this book that he gonna write, and I'm like, a person that moved from New York, a woman that moved from New York to Texas, and she slowly becoming the MAGA supporter. Like, what did you talk about? You're so funny.
And you thought it was so good. Well, if we have 2 minutes, I do have a reel of people who've taken the workshops on Clubhouse. You might recognize some of their voices talking about the experience, which I can share with you if you have 2 minutes right now, but I don't want to take over the room with this. I know that's not what we're talking about right now. So up to you.
They ain't talking about shit.
Mel's in charge.
Yeah, they're not talking about nothing, so.
All right, let me play it for you. So there's a couple people who've been through the workshops who are talking about it, and here we go. I'd like to invite past participants to share a little bit of your experience going through the workshop.
This workshop was enlightening for me to hear other people's contributions. Learn from the styles of the others and their skills and strengths. We all kind of grew from the experience. It all kind of guided us and mentored us along the way. So
Dr. Jordan.
Experience the benefit of the workshop if you were trying to do it by yourself, and I think that's the beauty and the purpose of it.
I have a book coming out in February. So you might think you're already a writer. What do you need a writer's workshop for? What I did not have was a real discipline around writing, communicating my thoughts in writing. So one of the things that was really great for me about the workshop was, quite frankly, writing on demand. That's probably my biggest takeaway from the workshop, of just writing, right? If you told me I had 6 weeks to write it, or 6 hours, or 6 minutes, you can do it. So it was really powerful and validating and encouraging for me to see what the group was able to come up with in the space of 10 minutes or 7 minutes. It kind of took the pressure off of, you're being too hard on yourself. Just sit down, just write, and just trust that you have something to say. And I just feel way more equipped and disciplined than I did before, which is kind of a miracle over the course of just a few weeks. The exercises, oh my gosh, this has really got me to get off my self-critical ass. Just get going, putting the riding wheels in motion, so to speak. It's been so motivating. The exercises help me jumpstart that creative process and then keep me there. What Denise had mentioned, you've got this time and you've just got to go. You just do it. And wow, it just opened my mind to so many more possibilities to be able to get through those blocks and enjoy the process, the journey along the way. And of course, with my comrades here with Jordan and Denise and Victoria, who so inspired me, and discovering things about myself, just the energy, just this fantastic energy in the room. I just felt free, and the best way I can describe it is like a trapeze artist. And you grab that bar, and you gotta swing, and then you've gotta let go and trust that that other person is gonna catch you. But even if you fall, there's a net. And that's what I felt through the whole thing, is that safety net. I felt like there is no wrong, just do it. And that's what I'm so grateful for. I didn't have any sort of writing project specifically. I just wanted to get back into the swing of creative writing, and this really helps sort of open up more possibilities or opportunities. But writing was the word I was trying to put stop, because writing can be very therapeutic, and that was I got the most out of. So I would highly encourage people, even if you don't have a project that you're looking to work on. We all go through life, we all have different experiences, and journaling, poetry, it's really helpful. I would say that it was very much like a therapeutic opportunity. Oh, you have been so amazing. And I love the fact that our personalities are all totally different. We're just totally different people, different perspectives, come from different parts of the country, have different backgrounds, and to just learn from each other and hear from each other, we all got something special out of it. If your schedule allows, and I suggest you make your schedule allow, it's just a worthwhile endeavor to fall in love with the written word. I resoundingly endorse this workshop. It was really amazing.
Yeah, so that gives you a little taste of what people have experienced.
Wonder how's voice that sound familiar. I just can't put it
It might have been Denise Hamilton, who you may know. Denise wrote a book that came out last year called Indivisible. The other people were Odile Curcio, I don't know if you know Odile, Dr. Jordan, and Victoria, who's been in and out of this room. I know there's been some engagement with Victoria.
That's cool.
Yeah, thanks. It was like I said, it was totally an experiment, because people kept coming to me saying, "Oh, I have this project," but they weren't in a position to be able to hire me to work with them. And then finally somebody said, "Well, would you do your workshops?" And I thought, well, I've never done anything online that way. I mean, I do like writing retreats, all over the country and things like that. but it turned out to be really a great platform to do it on. It's totally different than being in a normal clubhouse room. I mean, we don't multitask. We don't ever record anything. I have no recordings of the workshops because it's very intimate. People get very emotional. They're writing about very personal stuff. So it's really a safe place. But this is, we're just we're on our fifth one right now. And I was trying to decide whether to keep doing them because I'm working on my last book and have other projects, but decided that as I'm watching these people grow and seeing work getting done, it's just too good not to. So I've actually approached Clubhouse and asked them if they would consider sponsoring one person each session, just because not everybody can come up with the money to do the workshops. They're not tremendously expensive, but they aren't free either. And I want to see as many people be able to have this experience as possible. So, and it gives me a lot. It's really an honor and a pleasure to get to midwife other people's work. So, yeah, thanks for letting me share it.
You give me 6 more months on this app, trust me, I got 4 stories already. Just every character, every person that comes on this app, I mean, y'all are characters. I mean, I know I'm a character too, but y'all are real characters.
There's a movie, Dan. There's a movie called Clubhouse for sure.
Oh yeah, I believe it because I mean, like I know people don't use their real names, and sometimes people tell their stories, and sometimes the stories are truthful or exaggerated, but just the conversations, man, like it's just amazing, and I'd love to mix a couple of these people together and make a story. That would be fun. Trey would definitely have to be in there because he's definitely a character. He'd probably be the antagonist. But, you know, Brooklyn, you'll probably be the hero, maybe.
Who's going to play Trent, Dan?
Cigarette at your mouth.
Well, and I want to
say what?
Who are you going to cast to play Trent?
No, I wouldn't say it would be his like persona, right? That's what I would look at his persona and figure out like how can I like take his logic and reasoning and you know his being, you know, and kind of mix it up with somebody else because I can't do him just directly. I have to mix it up with somebody else, right? And then you know create a story where he's just you know living a MAGA world, you know, and then he comes in contact with somebody like you know a mixed character of like Lisa, Patty, and Brooklyn, right? If I can put all those 3 characters together, that would be a wild character. And if you have those people together, maybe you and Trent mixed together with Royal, fireworks. I wouldn't call it a bestseller. It would be definitely entertaining, for sure.
I was just playing devil's advocate, seeing if he had someone in mind, like to play Trent.
It's true. This place is full of characters. I mean, I see it. When I came on the app, I was really involved in the Ukrainian SITREP for months, and I mean that place was so full of characters and intrigue and drama. And then I got to know other people on the app, and it was like, oh my God, there's a movie here. There is really a movie called Clubhouse when you think about the different characters who are on this app. I want to respond to you, Ramona, in the chat. You were talking about how you would be able to read your work. It's a really good question. And like I said, we had actually somebody who's blind in the last couple of workshops. And what we do is he does his writing and then he sends it to me. And then one of us read it aloud for him because you're quite right. The same adaptability that allows him to be doing it on Clubhouse, it negates his ability to then read his work. So I know exactly what you're asking, and we actually hacked it. We solved it, which was great because he's listening to another person in the group who happens to be a voice work artist read his whole book. So he's almost like hearing an audible version of his work, which is just amazing. It's very collaborative in that regard. So yeah, we kind of worked that out so that people who are blind could easily do the workshop.
Okay, I got an elevator pitch for you. You ready? I'm envisioning a social audio app where the cast of characters much resemble us, organically, naturally come together and do independent journalism based on the current administration that's failing. In this fictional comedy thriller
be a comedy. You got that right.
And then definitely a investor comes into one of the rooms, which makes a turn of events a reality, where they end up backing and sponsoring us to do a full stop regime change in the U.S. government. So it goes from a social audio ad to reality, and the tagline would be, "We vote with our time."
I love it. I totally can picture this. Now I can hear how your mind works and how you develop things. This is great. I love that.
We manifest what we want to watch, right?
100%. You have to be there to get there.
I love it. Shout out to you. I wish you nothing but success with the workshop. Sounds like it doesn't need much more promoting. Sounds like it's running on its own. That's awesome.
Well, it is, and the thing is, I only allow 4 people per workshop because I just can't give people the amount of attention that they need and the quality of attention with any more than 4 people in a 2-hour workshop. So that limits my ability to only be able to do that. So I will be, like I said, opening registration for September, probably this next week. But I can always do 2 workshops at a time. But my plate is starting to fill up. I'm also still recovering from lung cancer.
Oh,
I was diagnosed. Yeah, I was diagnosed a little over a year ago and went through treatment. And actually, this coming Monday is my 1-year follow-up. So prayers from everybody if you got them. And Clubhouse was amazing. I mean, I had this realization that, I'm used to just sort of pushing through things. I've been doing it my whole life. And when I first got sick, I was like, all right, I'm just going to have to work more. I'm going to have to just do more. And it was like, no, this is not going to work this time. Like, that's my MO. And it was like, no. And I ended up having to get back to really big lucrative projects. And I did a GoFundMe. And I was transparent about it on Clubhouse. And people just came through for me. I mean, I did it in real life community as well. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. I've never asked anybody for a cent, but I really needed help in order to take 6 months to just heal and focus on my own recovery. And hopefully everything will be fine. I'll catch you guys up next week after the CAT scan.
Wow, that's congratulations on beating so far. I was looking up while you're talking. Maitake and reishi, specifically reishi mushrooms, are really good mushrooms for lung cancer. Shiitake as well. Shiitake, maitake, and reishi are all 3 great mushrooms. Shiitake is delicious. Reishi is like something you want to make with a tea, and then maitake you can cook with as well. It gets sauteed.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm very into functional medicine, so I'll write that down.
Can I ask you a question too? Is it L or L-E or which?
It's L like the letter L.
L. Okay, so just taking it back to the politically correct thing. How is or how will what the political landscape has been like and the laws that have recently been passed gonna affect your treatment and or the delivery of your treatment? Has that been determined yet, or are you still kind of waiting for that, or you anticipate something like? Because I know this is.
Are you talking about insurance coverage?
Yeah, just all that stuff. And like, how is that going to impact it? Is it going to impact it within the lifetime of your treatment, or is it something that is kind of outside of that?
Yeah.
That time frame.
Well, hopefully I don't need any more treatment, but I'm actually 71 years old, so I'm on Medicare, and I also have a secondary policy, which is killing me. I mean, my monthly premiums for insurance before out-of-pocket meds is almost $600 a month. That said, I haven't paid a penny for anything in years, for any doctors, any hospital, any treatments, nothing. So I spend a lot of money on healthcare, but they shouldn't be able to touch any of that because it's not Medicaid, it's actually Medicare.
So So you're in the clear for now. So that's good to hear. So
Yeah, I mean, presumably everything is fine. We'll see on Monday what the CAT scan shows. If it hasn't metastasized, we'll just continue to be good to go. So that's what I'm hoping for. Thanks for asking.
You got this.
yeah, no problem. Yeah,
We're here with you.
Thank you, you guys.
Pushing through.
They say green tea is a good tea of choice. I don't know if you like tea or if you like green tea specifically.
I'm more of a mint tea person, but that's because some of the meds I'm on make me nauseated. So I'm kind of a mint tea person, but I do ginger tea as well.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, and turmeric obviously is really good to add to that. Yeah, I have 2 aunts that beat breast cancer, and yeah, it's so sad seeing women younger and younger, facing cancer. It really is, food be thy medicine, as they say. I think Joe Salatin said that. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food.
Absolutely. Actually, one of the things that happened this week in my world that was very sad was that I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Andrea Gibson. Andrea Gibson is the poet laureate of Colorado. Absolutely amazing human being. And they died of ovarian cancer. And she was just unfucking believable. In fact, if you really want to hear something that's going to blow your mind, I was playing one of her spoken word pieces for you. It's called Yes. And it actually relates to this room. If you'd let me share this, I would be grateful, because we've been talking about stuff that is so hard and painful, and we struggle with it every day. I'd love to share this with you because this is so beautiful. Let me see if I can grab it. This is Andrea Gibson. She passed away on Monday. She's all over the internet. If you do Substack or Instagram or TikTok, you're going to see her. I'm going to say there because she's trans. They are trans, so I want to be respectful to her pronouns here. It doesn't really matter at the moment one way or the other, but let me share this with you. The poem is called Yes, and let me grab it. Okay, here we go. Hang on a second. When 2 violins are played. Whoops, sorry. Give me a second. Hold on. I'll get rid of this ad. All right, here we go. When 2 violins are placed in a room, if a chord on one violin is struck, the other violin will sound that same note. If this is your definition of hope, this is for you. For the ones who know how powerful we are, who know we can sound the music and the people around us simply by playing our own strings. For the ones who see life in their broken wings, open their chests and offer their breath as wind on a still day when nothing seems to be moving. Spare those intent on proving God is dead. For you.
Ew, what are you playing? Ew.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I wasn't on mic. This is Andrea Gibson, who is the poet laureate of Colorado, who passed away on Monday from ovarian cancer, who was an incredible force to be reckoned with. And this is her poem called, her spoken word poem called Yes.
Okay, sweetheart. Thank you.
Yes.
No,
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I didn't
listen to it.
Yeah, no. That's my
Here, she 100%, and I gotta get her a signature first. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yes, I was into 100%, and she's getting some percent.
Did you say yes or no? Are you okay with what we're
How Gen X are getting their teenage bodies back. So this is my mom, and this is my grandma. I recently posted a picture.
Okay, here we go.
When 2 violins are placed in a room, if a chord on one violin is struck, the other violin will sound that same note. If this is your definition of hope, this is for you. For the ones who know how powerful we are, who know we can sound the music and the people around us simply by playing soften your broken wings. Open their chests and offer their breath as wind on a still day when nothing seems to be moving. Spare those intent on proving God is dead. For you, when your fingers are red, from clutching your hearts will beat faster. For the time you mastered the art of giving yourself for the sake of someone else. For the ones who have felt what it is to crush the lies and lift truth so high, the steeples bow to the sky. This is for you. This is for that moon. On the night she seems hung by a noose. For the people who cut her loose. For the people still waiting for the rope to burn, about to learn they have scissors in their hands. This is for the man who showed me the hardest thing about having nothing is having nothing to give. Who said the only reason to live is to give ourselves away. So this is for the day we'll work for something real. We'll feel for sunshine in the shadows, look for sun rays in the shade. This is for the people who rattle the cage that slave wage. And for the ones who didn't know the filth they told tonight. But right now, I'm beginning songs that sound something like people turning their porch lights on and calling the homeless back home. This is for everything we own. And for the day we'll learn how much we have when we learn to give that all away. This is for doubt becoming faith, for falling from grace and climbing back up, for trading our silver platter for something that matters, like the gold that shines from our hands when we hold each other. This is for your grandmother who walked 1,000 miles on broken glass to find that single patch of grass, to plant a family tree where the fruit would grow to laugh. For the ones who know the math of war has always been subtraction, so they live like an action of addition. For you, when you give, like every star is wishing on you, and for the people still wishing on stars, this is for you too. This is for the time you went through hell so someone else wouldn't have to. For the time you taught a 14-year-old girl she was powerful. For the time you taught a 14-year-old boy he was beautiful. For the radical anarchist asking a Republican to dance, because what's the chance of anyone moving from right to left if the only moves they see are Fox News? This is for no becoming yes, for fear becoming trust, for saying I love you to people who will never say it to us, for scraping away the rust and remembering how to shine, for the time you gave away when you didn't have a penny, for the many beautiful things you do, for every song you've ever sung, for refusing to believe in miracles because miracles are the impossible coming true and everything is possible. This is for the possibility that guides us, and for the possibility still waiting to sing and spread their wings inside us, because tonight Saturn is on his knees proposing with all of his 10,000 rings of whatever song we've been singing. We sing even more. The world needs us right now more than it ever has before. Pull all your strings, take every chord. If you're writing letters to the prisoners, start tearing down the bars. If you're handing out flashlights in the dark, start handing out stars. Never go a second hushing the percussion of your heart. Play loud, play like you know the clouds left too many people cold and broken, and you're the last chance for sun. Play like there's no time for hoping brighter days will come. Play like the apocalypse is only 4, 3, 2, but you have a drum in your chest that could save us. You have a song like a breath that could raise us like a sunrise into a dark sky that cries to be blue. Play like you know we won't survive if you don't, but we will if you do. So like Saturn is on his knees, proposing with all of his 10,000 rings, that we give every single breath. Y'all, this is for saying yes.
That's Andrea Gibson. May she rest in peace.
Very beautiful. Thank you for that. Beautiful way to start the day.
We get so buried in despair that, this was a very, very bright light who affected so many millions of people. And I'm just, in the Jewish tradition of mourning for a year, I'm going to be playing this every day for this year.
The mitzvah, as your people will say.
So back to you, Patty.
So she was ill. I'm sorry, missed that.
You know what? I don't know, but I'm going to guess maybe like around 48. But let me check. I don't know. I know she was diagnosed 2 years ago. This was recorded right after she was diagnosed. You can see watching. I keep saying she, and I need to stop doing that. I need to say they because Andrea is trans. I don't know how old. You can see that they're struggling a little bit for breath in this, but I mean, they're so. If you check out something called button poetry, that's where some of the best spoken word is. Let me check and see how old they.
Yeah, I didn't need to know exact, but the point was she was young. Very young.
I was right. She's 49, but just shy of turning 50. There was an amazing poem that somebody shared. It was a reel of her sitting there reading something.
Thanks, God.
Absolutely, you're very welcome. I would say anytime. I was woefully ill-equipped to do that. So, it was a
Thanks. You have a great voice. I almost thought you were a computer. I don't get it. So what does it all mean?
Stupid ass things like, ooh, we're gonna do it to power. Y'all don't have no fucking power. Most of y'all ain't even your own boss. You working for a white man. Okay? So when y'all talk about these things about will and power, I think the reason why y'all are so obsessed with having power over your woman is because you don't have any power anywhere else in your life. So you are obsessed with having power over your woman.
You begging for woman, you begging a woman to like that is crazy.
Can I
Begging a woman.
Can I
actually? You're crazy. Go ahead.
I just think it's wild that people that have no you don't have no power in your real life. So you're obsessed with coming home and trying to dominate over somebody else. Because you can't tell your boss to go fuck themselves. You can't tell your boss to shut up. So now you're gonna go home and tell that woman to shut up. I laugh at y'all niggas every single day. I'm so glad. Because you know what? I didn't want to listen to somebody, so I went out and became my own boss. You should do it too. Instead of crying in the car thinking you're gonna wield some type of power over somebody that you don't have.
Hey, can I say something real quick?
No, because I'm next.
So, how the fuck you just get in here and talk about your next? This is cute. No, go ahead, bro. You been here for Milton been waiting and the other brother been waiting. You gotta wait.
Yeah, let me get a cue there.
You can see that.